Steve Petersky, North County Pipeline here, coming to you with this week's recap. Obviously, today's story this is a big one that we've been following here for years, and even at my time with Coast News. And so it's the injunction filed by Citizens for a Friendly Airport against San Diego County and American Airlines to cease operations. A judge denied the injunction on Friday pretty convincingly. There was just too much there of at least for now, of an irreparable harm to the county and to American Airlines in the tune of the $600,000 agreement, which I think was discounted a little bit for the first year of operations, but the judge was also citing, and the county attorney, tickets sold, jobs that were created, all the operations, and then the impacts to the local economy, among others. In addition, the county was pretty upset, I guess, and forceful about one element of the injunction, which was when Citizens for a Friendly Airport initially filed in January. It was under the grounds of CEQA, that the county, alleging the county not done the proper environmental reviews to incorporate a new service provider at Palomar Airport, and then changed the scope of the injunction to stop all commercial service out of the airport, in which they had argued that there's no reason to grant the injunction because of the past litigation that was filed in 2018, the 2021 master plan update, and all the time between then and now, that the group knew the county's plans to incorporate more commercial service. And there is, in the master plan, it's littered with numbers and estimates and projections environmentally and planements and things of that nature of commercial service, and reincorporating that back in, and trying to solicit 1 to 3 new service providers. So and then on the flip side, Citizens for a Friendly Airport, their attorney, Corey Briggs, was really trying to hammer home the point that the classification of the airport and the conditional use permit, those were the two big sticking points for them. And so the airport's classified as a B2. It allows C3 aircraft. That was one of their big talking points and their arguments. And the county was able to, kind of navigate that. And under federal regulations, a C3 aircraft is allowed to operate at a B2. And then with the conditional use permit, that was the one area where the judge thought, or said at least, that if this ended up going to a trial, that there might be a chance for the plaintiffs to I guess win or have a decent argument. So there's a lot of ambiguity about the original intent. So the attorneys and the judge engaged in minutes long discussion about that, and what the intent was back in 1980. The only challenge is at least for the judge, was finding someone who's still alive from back then that could testify in either a deposition or in a trial in a court setting, of what the intention between the city of Carlsbad and the county was in that initial conditional use permit, and did it set up for a commercial use. Obviously, there was commercial use from 91 to 2015, and then again in 2017 with CalJet by Elite Airways, and then late 2018, early 2019 with California Pacific Airlines. And then in February 13th of this year, that's when American Airlines started. So that's kind of where we are right now. There's some hearings scheduled for November, and we'll see whether or not Citizens for a Friendly Airport does continue its legal action. The judge was kind of surprised that Carlsbad, since they have been so, at least the city council has been so vocal against the airport and American Airlines, he questioned why they weren't a party of the lawsuit, since they have, quote, skin in the game, and whether or not they will actually do that. And so the county said that if the plaintiffs wanted to do that, if they wanted to incorporate the city, then they have to sue the city. So this could be going down a lawsuit rabbit hole, really, and I know the city has been discussing it behind closed doors in closed session. Um, and what those decisions are, not sure, but I did send a request, a media request. There was in the court records a lawyer that looked like he was going to appear on behalf of the city of Carlsbad, from a San Francisco law firm, and I did send a media request to ask about that, like when did the city hire him, how much for, when does the decision made, those kind of things. It was turned into a public records request and promptly denied. So. Yeah, transparency at its finest, I guess. But it is what it is, and so we'll see if the city will, instead of talking tough, it will actually throw its weight behind this thing and get in on the lawsuit. Um, but yeah, so the next hearings are in November. Or I think there's one in July, and then there's another one for November. But and we'll see how kind of it goes from there. It's going to be tough sledding for Citizens for Friendly Airport, and whether those hearings continue or not, depends on money too, right? Like the judge said that if he was going to do an injunction, the plaintiffs would have to put up bond money. So he was likely going to set the bond at about $1 million, and the bond is used to cover the county and American Airlines for damages, and so for obviously lost revenue because they would have to cease operations. Corey Briggs argued that it should be nominal and about $150,000 or less, and then when the judge asked if the plaintiffs could cover that, he said no. So that kind of wiped that one out. But yeah, if any kind of injunction would have been put in place, the Citizens for Friendly Airport and those people would have had to pay. So, but they don't now. So yeah, the saga continues, and we'll see where it goes from here in a couple months. In other news, Oceanside getting a little froggy here with homeowners. They're proposing a tenant protection ordinance, and what a lot of realtors and homeowners are calling rent control. It would cap rent increases at 5% per year, which a lot of people feel, at least on the homeowner property owner side, that would jeopardize their rentals and lead probably to higher rents or more profitable rents, just to get around the 5% cap. It would also ensure that no fault protections are put in place on day one when someone signs a lease. This issue was brought up by council members Eric Joyce and Jimmy Figueroa, and so under state law, the Tenant Protection Act, those no fault protections don't start for 1 year, and they have it out at day one. And so, yeah, this one is drawn up a lot of conversation in Oceanside, and whether or not this would be a negative or a positive. The homeowners feel, and one of them being Chuck Lowry, who's a former city councilman in Oceanside, who owns about 8 properties that he rents to seniors below market rate. His feeling was he would have to sell, because one of the components is if you do a quote major remodel under the definition of the law, then you would have to pay 2 months relocation, and then 3 months for someone who is a senior or disabled. So that would really cut into a lot of what the savings of property owners, and then in addition to obviously the remodel. So that can throw up another upwards of $10,000 just for relocation. And so, but the the councilmen are they're both renters, so they feel that these protections are more needed than not. A lot of people are pointing to some of the issues of up in other cities where there's rent control and people just hold on to units and don't ever move, and so there's not a movement in the housing market, and it makes it more challenging. But others say that there's the positives to it too, to prevent homelessness, to create housing stability, things of that nature. So that council meeting is on Wednesday. So that should be a fiery one for sure. Kind of saying in the real estate game, I went to a North San Diego County realtors I guess bruncheon, um, or breakfast, but it was an economic update. And one of the things that they really talked about, and that is really driving them this year, is a potential transfer fee tax proposal, an increase to that by Supervisor Tara Lawson Rimmer. And so, what a transfer uh, tax is when you sell a property, you have to pay X amount to government to transfer the title, or the deed. And so right now in San Diego County, it's $1.10 for every $1,000. Uh, Up in LA, they did this. They passed a measure, and it was the so-called mansion tax. And so I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that, but basically, under any property over $5 million, uh, from 5 million to 10 million is 4%, and then anything above 10 million is 5.5%. So it's hundreds of thousands of dollars up there. And what we've seen, according to one accounting firm, is in their analysis, is about an 80% drop in real estate transactions, because now, like what Taylor Thompson of the San Diego the North San Diego Realtors was saying, is like, if you pinch the top, they don't move. And so then the next level, who would move into those homes or those properties, well, they stay too. And then it just cascades down. And so you see a lack of movement in the housing ladder and the market. So they're circling the wagons for this kind of proposal. The county's not bringing anything back for another couple months, probably another 2 or 3 months out. And because the county's trying to address $138 million tax or budget short deficit. And so Mayor John Franklin of Vista, who's one of the guest speakers, ripped the county for basically just hiring 2,500 people in the last couple of years, creating 4 new departments, and saying, well, there's your deficit right there. If you'd address that, or not, hire 2,500 people, they wouldn't be in the hole that they are in right now. So you don't need to penalize property owners, especially in a state where there's real estate's at a premium, and it's it can be difficult, but there should be easier ways to get into property versus harder ways. And so the realtors are pretty united in this. So I'm sure we'll see some noise about that as it comes up in a couple of months. So yeah. And then finally, there's the San Pasqual Band of Mission Indians is hosting the first ever SoCal Indigenous Art Festival in Escondido on April 19th. So that should be really cool, and really fun. It's not part of the city's arts and culture, or arts, creativity, and culture month, which started on April 1st. But regardless, like, just a nice history, artists, unique stuff from the Native Americans. So that should be a really good time. So be sure to go and check that out. That's all I have for you guys this week. So stay tuned next week, and we'll kind of recap, obviously, like I said, in Oceanside, and the other stories I'm working on. Take care.